This is the curtain raiser or a teaser, if you will, or the introductory video to the five-part series, the five-part video series on Omkareshwar, its Antiquity, and Adi Sankara. This is all in the context of the Statue of Oneness or the Statue of Adi Sankara, which has been recently unveiled on top of this hill that you see here. This is above the Omkareshwar temple. This is the Omkareshwar temple. It has been unveiled over this hill on the banks of the Narmada in Omkareshwar. So I have been asked several questions. People assume that I know something about Adi Shankara, and wherever I go, I recently gave a lecture. If I meet people or if I talk to people, people have been asking me several questions about Omkareshwar, its antiquity, and Adi Shankara. So I have compiled these questions, and I have I've just state these questions to you, and people basically are asking me, you are the guy who seems to claim to be able to produce hard evidence. So why don't you tell us the hard evidence about Omkareshwar, its antiquity, and its connection to Adi Shankara? So I'll just broadly tell you these are some of the questions that have come up. Most of them are from the non-technical audience. The first question, that is being asked to me is why Omkareshwar? Why was Omkareshwar chosen to install this statue of Adi Shankara, this massive statue of Adi Shankara? And this is the question that is repeatedly coming up. Now, some others ask, you know, you say there is so much hard evidence here, there, and the other. What is the hard evidence linking Adi Shankara and Omkareshwar? I mean, this is coming from sort of a skeptical group, which there are a bunch of people who always ask tough questions, and they should ask tough questions. And so they asked me, tell us about the hard evidence. Now, a group of a little more sort of technical people asked me, how ancient is Omkareshwar? This is a very strange question, but I was asked, how old is Omkareshwar? How far back does the history of Omkareshwar go to? I mean, that's a very, very, very relevant question asked by some, few technical people, meaning people who are in the field, obviously. Another very strange question that was thrown at me is, that I had spoken about the iconography of Adi Shankara. There is also a lecture in Tamil that I had given about, the iconography of Adi Shankara. And people asked me, uh, you had talked about, how Adi Shankara looked, etc. How does the image at Omkareshwar or the statue at Omkareshwar compare with the early iconography of Adi Shankara? So, I mean, here I put the image of Adi Shankara on the left. This is from on the right is from Omkareshwar, obviously. The new statue that is unveiled, and on the left basically is one medieval image, let's say, of Adi Shankara. And here you have him, in a yogic pose, right, with one leg raised, right, one hand above his head. We'll talk about why. There is a Shivalinga next to him, the book stand or the book rest, danda, kamandala, etc. And the other hand that is raised, he's actually waving the fly whisk or the chamara, right? So the question that was posed to me is, how accurate is the depiction of Shankara as compared to the ancient India? It's a very, very, very good question. Now, a couple of questions. One question from a very senior technical person is, how much do we know about the evolution of culture? I mean, meaning the tradition, the worship, the temples, the architecture, and actually it's much more than that. But in the context of the historical period, it's more about all these kind of things, a bit more also, and how much of that is going to be represented in the proposed museum. I mean, he had seen some information about a proposed museum at Omkareshwar. Now that led me thinking and I looked up the information he showed me, and I realized that, you know, what should be the concept of the proposed museum for Adi Sankara and Omkareshwar? If you go to, there are a couple of museums, and we'll be talking about that. Or if you go to the various mathas all over India, there'll be a standard set of murals or paintings or modern sculptures which show Adi Shankara's life. How he was basically held by the crocodile, his mother giving him permission, he moving, taking sannyasa, moving away, meeting his guru. And before that, they will show the rain of gooseberries, basically during the Kanakadara Stotra, golden gooseberries or amala. And these are the kind of things that are normally shown. So, it got me wondering, are we going to again regurgitate to show the same thing in Omkareshwar? So that was actually my question, the last one. So, to answer these questions, I made this five-part video series and tried to take up one these questions one by one. And it's very interesting, and I hope many people watch it and give me feedback like you have been. Thank you very much.